Hey, mini wargaming fans, it's Fireman Tim here. I'm back. You're probably wondering, where have you been? What have you been doing? You've been kicking tires and fighting fires this whole time? No, I haven't. Well, maybe a little bit. But I've been scouring the world looking for the greatest, newest miniature war games to bring back to you and show you. And let me tell you, there's some terrible, terrible war games out there. I went to North Korea last year. I found this game called Hincha What? Emerald Warriors. Awful. Instead of rolling dice, you actually whipped razor blades at each other's heads. And let me tell you, don't play it unless you got your insurance paid up. But I have found something right here in our very backyard here in Canada. A little company called Dream Pod 9 out of Montreal, Canada produces a game called Heavy Gear Blitz. Now some of you guys are probably as old as I am, grew up in the 80s, grew up in the early 90s. You remember shows like Transformers, Robotech, Macross, Gundam, all those fun giant robot cartoons that you used to watch. Well, actually they've invented a game called Heavy Gear Blitz, which is giant robot combat. And great mechanics. Great game. You probably grew up or started with games like Battletech or with Warhammer 40K, whatever it is you started with, playing those games, and you maybe want something a little bit more, something a little bit more in depth, more realistic, modern combat with sci-fi principles and high-tech stuff like guided weapons with laser rangefinders and target designators and indirect fire and high explosives and stuff like that. Heavy Gear Blitz brings all those modern warfare combat ideas into the miniature wargaming realm. As you see before me here, I've got a few armies. Let me just talk a little bit about what exactly is Heavy Gear Blitz. Like I said, giant robot combat. It's set in the future on a planet called Terra Nova. Terra Nova is a world that was colonized by Earth centuries and centuries in the future, but Earth has disappeared, so you've got these two factions, North and South, two main factions on the Earth, or on Terra Nova that are fighting each other. And rather than tanks and APCs and stuff, they've invented these things called gears, which are about 15-foot tall robots with a pilot inside. And they fight back and forth on Terra Nova with gears and artillery. You still have tanks, you've got infantry, you've got APCs and a few of the older ideas, but most of the combat happens with these giant robots called gears. Great universe, great fluff with this game. You've got lots of factions to play. You've got the North, the South, each having about 4 to 5 army styles per faction. You've got the Port Arthur Corps, which is the remnants of an Earth invasion fleet that was defeated. You've got you've got armies that roam the Badlands, which are kind of like mercenaries and just outlaws. You've got the Colonial Earth Fleet, the CEF they're called. They've returned to Terra Nova. So there's lots of different army types you can play. You can play Peace River Defense Force, which is kind of like they're the neutral party on this planet, and they don't get involved too much in the conflicts, but they do get drawn. So there's lots and lots and lots of fluff, lots of different miniatures. I gotta say, they produce some pretty nice miniatures. They're on pewter, and some of them are in resin. They take some skill to put together, so if you're an experienced modeler, you're really gonna like these. They got lots of different poses, lots of different weapons that you can add. It's a very customizable miniatures that you can put together. I got two armies here I brought to show you. I've got the North and the South here, and each one is comprised of some different types of gears, which are the robots, okay? The smallest gear is called the Cheetah in this army, and it's a recon gear. It's got many uses in the game where you're going to be doing reconnaissance, you're going to be doing rapid strikes. It's very fast, very hard to hit, but yet very weak. Your standard general purpose gear is called the Hunter. The Hunter is your main line grunt gear. It comes with this very standard loadout. There's a few combinations you can take these guys and give them bazookas. You can give them some heavier weapons like the snub cannon. There's the bazooka. So they've got some different roles that you can give them. The next more advanced gear is the Jaguar. The Jaguar is the advanced next generation mainline gear of the North. A little bit bigger than the Hunter, it's faster, it's got better electronics and better electronic countermeasures on board. You'll find those in elite squads and strike forces, strike squads, and it's the next level up from the Hunter. Then you've got some of the heavies, and the standard heavy gear, that's what it's called, for the North is called the Grizzly. The Grizzly is the big, nasty, mean gear. It's got mortar, it's got dual rocket pods, it's got a heavy auto cannon, big and nasty, deals lots of damage, takes lots of damage. Not as common as the Hunters. You'll find that in the fire support squads, it deals lots of long-range damage, it takes lots of damage. It's big, bruiser, big tough gear. And you'll find those again in the fire support squads, and sometimes you'll find them in the Dragoon squad. Again, these miniatures are very customizable. You can add all kinds of different weapons on it. This one has a heavy grenade launcher on it, and this is the up close and dirty version of the Grizzly, designed for close combat. Not as fast as the other ones. Speed is a big factor in this game. Fast moving gears are hard to hit. Slow ones, they get hit pretty easily. So it's not very fast. And then there's the granddaddy of them all, the Kodiak. Kodiak is very expensive for them to produce. It is an elite gear with the best of weapons, the most advanced of weapons. You'll find the Kodiak with your army commanders, even with some of the chaplains of the North will be equipped with the Kodiak. I don't have all the miniature line here with me today, but there's a few other ones in my army here. I've got light field guns, which are kind of a neat static piece for your army. Stick them behind some terrain and fire away. You can call in shots with some of your recon gears. And then I just have a couple camel transports. They don't really play much of a role in the game, but they just kind of look good. You got to tow those things around somehow. And that would be what I brought today for my Northern Army, Northern Guard. Then you've got the other faction, the other big faction on Terra Nova is the South. The South, they essentially just took the Hunter and they copied it, and they called it the Jaeger. The Jaeger is essentially an absolute duplicate copy of the Hunter. It's, again, your main grunt gear of the South. It's got a light autocannon, it's got a light rocket pod on its shoulder. It is the grunt, the green shirt soldier of the South. One specialized gear here is another scout gear like the cheetah. It's called the iguana. Iguana is a little bit bigger than cheetah. It's fast again, it's a recon gear. A little bit tougher than the cheetah. It's got a few advanced weapon features on it, like target designators for calling in guided weapons. It's got a very, very light gun called the disposable pack gun. Again, good for recon. They have an advanced gear, kind of like the Northern Jaguar. This one's called the Black Mamba. Black Mamba is a very advanced gear. It's the next generation. You're going to find those in your squad leaders, and your army leaders will be fighting with Black Mambas. Of course, it wouldn't be fun without some big heavies. The big heavy of the South is called the Spitting Cobra. We've got two versions here. The big heavy of the South is called the Spitting Cobra. Spitting Cobra, I got two different loadouts here. One has a light field gun on the back. The other one has a heavy rocket pod. It's pretty close to what the Grizzly is. Same kind of basic weapon loadouts. This one has a very light mortar on its shoulder, as opposed to the medium mortar that the Grizzly has. But again, lots of damage, not very fast, but they deal a lot of pain and punishment. You get a lot of quick kills with Spitting Cobras. So they're kind of a mainstay for your Southern Army. You're going to want to have a few of those. I have another big gear here. It's called a Strider. Striders are essentially just two-legged gears. The North and the South each have Striders. Some of them are four-legged, some are even six-legged gears. This one here is called the Naga, and this layout has two light field guns on it. One of the neat things I did with my Naga is I got some rare earth magnets from right here at Mini Wargaming, and I embedded them into the shoulders. So now I can put some different weapon layouts on here. These are the anti-tank missiles. Or you can make a command Naga, and you can take one of these off and put in a satellite uplink on there too. So he could be not only just dealing out damage with his missiles, he can also be improving everybody's chances of hitting and commanding the battlefield. So again, like I said, there's lots of advanced ideas and concepts with heavy gear that kind of mimic modern day warfare. It's a big step up from something like Warhammer 40K. It's not as simple a game to play. There's a lot more tactics involved. And see a few of the simple terrain pieces I made for heavy gear. First off, there's the stone heads. These actually come from DreamPod 9. They manufacture these. It's like Easter Island, this Terra Nova. There are these stone heads all over the place. Nobody knows where they come from, but they just litter the planet with these giant heads. And it wouldn't be heavy gear without stone heads. It is a desert climate, so I have a few of these 40K jungle trees that we put together. And domes. These are these Oasis domes. It's just a hamster ball that I painted, cut in two, and added a few caps from spray cans and little bits and stuff that I had laying around at home. And there you go, you got some simple Terra Nova style terrain to play on. Okay, Heavy Gear Blitz, you're gonna need this. It's the locked and loaded rulebook. When you buy a set from Mini Wargaming, there's a few different Army starter sets you can get. It comes with a rulebook and it comes with a general purpose gear squad and usually like a fire support gear squad. So you get a lot of miniatures and the book all included in one Army box set. The rulebook, this one here comes in either black and white, or you can also get it in color, a little bit more money. It's full of nice artwork. There's some really nice looking artwork in here that they've done. So there's lots of eye candy in here. The rules are very simple to learn, yet there's a lot of depth to them. Again, it's not as simplistic as 40K. There's a lot of advanced warfare concepts in here, but again, it's easy to learn. It also includes army lists. You've got pretty much everything you need to play right in the rule book here. North, South, the Peace River Defense or Peace River combat groups here. You've got Port Arthur Corps and you've got Legalists. So you've got, so I think I calculated somewhere over 16 different armies that you can get all out of the basic rule book. One thing I really like about heavy gear is you don't need a lot of space to play it. You can be playing this on the kitchen table. All you need is a minimum of 3 feet by 3 feet to play it. You don't need a lot of miniatures to play it. Just with the basic Army set, you're going to get about 3 hours of play right on your kitchen table. You can play 3 by 3, 3 by 4. Again, not a huge table. You don't need a lot to play it. You don't need a lot of miniatures to play it. You can play with as little as 5 or as upwards of 16. You're probably going to get into quite an evening of combat with 16 miniatures aside. So for your initial investment, you're getting a lot of return on it. Okay, that's Heavy Gear Blitz in a nutshell. Lots more to tell you, but we're running out of time. Next video, we're going to do a little bit of basic gameplay to show you some of the basic mechanics. And again, there's lots more to learn about this, about Heavy Gear Blitz. Hey, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. There's more coming your way.
Visit miniwargaming.com to see our videos 1 month early.